Has something ever been so small, yet said so much? By 80, not everyone can still manage the little things. But what about you? Like remembering your doctor's appointment without a reminder, changing your watch battery without fumbling, filling out an online medical form without calling your kids, ironing a shirt by yourself without asking for help. These everyday actions, things most folks past 80 struggle with, aren't neglected out of laziness or lack of care. It's just that the body begins to push back. Hands shake more, eyes tire faster, heartbeats, thoughts, and routines slow down. And gradually, one small thing at a time, people begin leaning on others. They start hesitating, then stop trying. But this isn't about decline, it's about what you can still do. Because those little things, they're powerful signs of independence. They're how someone at 80 quietly tells the world, I'm still here on my own terms. In this video, we're sharing 7 everyday tasks many people stop doing by 80. And if you're still doing some of them, you're stronger than you think. Tap the like button to keep this video handy, or hit subscribe so you don't miss more stories where the smallest things matter. And if there's a small but mighty task you still proudly do, drop it in the comments. You might just inspire someone else. Let's get into it. 7 small things that speak volumes about living with dignity even as we age. First up, and probably the most overlooked, is remembering your medical appointments. It doesn't sound like a big deal until the day you can't remember and need help every time you visit the doctor. Can you recall today's date without checking your phone? Know your next appointment without needing a reminder? It sounds basic, but after 80, many can't manage it alone. They start depending on their kids or alarms or notes, and slowly the habit of keeping track slips away. No one's to blame, but it chips away at your confidence. You stop trusting your memory, you lose that steady grip on your daily life. The National Institute on Aging reports that 45% of people over 75 regularly forget appointments, and nearly half don't even realize they missed them. This isn't just forgetfulness. It's a warning sign that life's steering wheel is slipping from your hands. Take Mr. Charles, 81, from Ohio. He once showed up to his appointment a full week early. The nurse laughed and sent him home, but that moment stuck with him. After that, he never went to the clinic alone. What if I get it wrong again? He told his family. He began carrying a note with the date, but each time he checked it, he looked around like he was hiding something. Because memory doesn't just vanish, it fades, quietly taking confidence and independence with it. But here's the good news. The brain can be trained. Start with something simple. Each morning, check the calendar. Even if you've got nowhere to be, just look. It takes seconds, but it's a daily reminder that you're still in charge of your own rhythm. Remembering appointments isn't just about health. It's about presence, awareness, and intention. And once you've got that down, there's another move that takes both memory and self-trust. Glancing in the rearview mirror and driving yourself to the pharmacy calmly and confidently without needing anyone by your side. They don't always talk about it, but after 70, many folks back out of the driveway a little slower because deep down, they're scared. Not because they can't drive anymore, not because they forget directions or their hands shake, but because they just can't turn their heads quickly enough to check behind them. Just one glance and their neck stiffens, their back seizes up, their heart races. And out of fear they might miss a child darting into the street or a car speeding by, they choose to stay home. According to the Chihuahua Foundation for Traffic Safety, 1 in 3 adults over 75 cut back on driving, not because they lose their license, but because they lose confidence. And when confidence fades, so does freedom. No more runs to the pharmacy, no more popping by their favorite store, no more visiting friends unless someone else drives. The car's still in the garage, but the power to decide when and where to go quietly slips away. Mr. Ray, 81, from North Carolina, used to drive 3 miles every morning to grab the newspaper. But after one quick turn, left his neck sore for a week. He began avoiding early drives, busy roads, even little errands. Then one day it hit him. I haven't gone out alone in ages. Nobody told him to stop driving. But no one reminded him that a few simple habits could keep something bigger alive. Each morning he began turning his head side to side 10 times, then tilting it gently. He rolled up a towel for lower back support, easing the pain of long drives. He added a $15 wide-angle mirror, giving him better visibility and more peace of mind when parking. He didn't return to long road trips, but he held on to the right to drive on his own terms. Because driving isn't just about steering the car, it's about steering your life. But independence doesn't only live behind the wheel. It shows up in quieter places, like when you fill out a medical form online without needing to ask for help. A tiny task that can feel massive to someone over 80, not because of joint pain or hearing issues, but because of one confusing screen, a few boxes for meds, a couple health questions. Yet every time their heart pounds, eyes blur, hands tremble. The font's too small, the layout's a mess. One wrong tap and everything disappears. Some get logged out midway. Some can't even find the next button. So they call their kids. A 2023 national poll on healthy aging found that 58% of adults over 70 struggle with online medical forms, and more than 4% of them have missed appointments just because they couldn't complete them in time. Not for lack of care, but from the feeling of being left behind by something that's supposed to be simple. Mr. Harold, 82, from Sacramento once said, "I entered one insurance number wrong, and my MRI was delayed 2 weeks. I wasn't angry, I just felt outdated." But he didn't stop there. He signed up for a My Chart for Seniors class at his local library, 4 one-hour sessions. Now he fills out forms himself, checks his test results, and saves them for future visits. And he's not alone. All across the country, public libraries, YMCAs, and Medicare plans are offering free, no-pressure tech classes for older adults. Step by step, no shame, no rush. You just have to start. So if digital forms feel like a minor nightmare to you, try 3 easy things. Jot down your meds and keep the list in your wallet. Pull up an old form once a week and fill it out for practice. Or check out a free workshop at your community center. Don't let a handful of buttons dull the drive you've always had. A form may look small, but the ability to complete it on your own without asking or waiting, that's huge. And then there's something else, simple but still enough to stop me in my tracks. A phone call. It's not that I don't want to listen, it's that I just can't hear clearly anymore, no matter how hard I try. When was the last time that a phone call ended with laughter, not with me saying what, for the 3rd time? For many people over 80, hearing someone on the phone isn't as easy as it used to be. The ears still work, technically, but they can't keep up with fast-paced voices. The rhythm of conversation breaks. The listener hesitates to ask again. The speaker worries about being a bother. According to Johns Hopkins research, older adults with untreated hearing loss face a 30% higher risk of depression, along with cognitive decline and social withdrawal. Hearing isn't just about sound, it's how we stay connected. Mr. Richard, 83, from Minneapolis, used to call his grandkids every evening, but after his hearing began to fade in one ear, the calls grew rare. "I was afraid I'd keep asking them to repeat themselves," Dudley said, "afraid I'd be a bother." It wasn't until his son took him for a hearing test and helped him get a new hearing aid that the calls slowly came back. Now I don't have to guess what they're saying. I get to hear about school, their friends, the little things I thought I was losing. If this sounds familiar, if you've ever sighed after a call ended too soon, go ahead and tap like to show you understand, and hit subscribe so you won't miss more stories that really hit home. Because if we start thinking that not hearing clearly is just part of aging, older adults may slowly withdraw, not just from conversations, but from life itself. And the solution isn't always high-tech. Sometimes all it takes is a hearing test, a minor tweak to a hearing aid, or even using speakerphone, speaking more clearly, or just slowing down to save a conversation. Because sometimes feeling heard starts with being able to hear. Some things are so small no one notices until trembling hands make them hard, like changing a watch battery or fitting a hearing aid. No one reminds them to do it, but being able to gives back a sense of control. It may sound surprising, but yes, some people fall into depression simply because they can't change a battery. It might seem dramatic, but for many over 80, tasks that once felt simple, like swapping a battery, start to feel so overwhelming, they begin to feel like they're not themselves anymore. Because this isn't just about mechanics, it's the quiet question in their mind. Am I still independent, or am I becoming a burden? Many older adults hide these small struggles. They drop a battery without saying a word, turn away as their hands fumble with buttons, all because they're afraid of being pitied. And one day they stop trying altogether. Research from the U.S. National Institute on Aging shows that losing the ability to do fine motor tasks, like twisting caps, fastening buttons, or changing batteries, can be an early warning sign of nerve decline. When hands lose their precision, the brain can start losing signals too, leading to social isolation. Mr. Andrew, 78, a retired radio technician in Austin, hadn't worn his hearing aid in weeks. When his daughter asked why, he just smiled faintly. Lately, I've been dropping the batteries. I'm worried people will think I've lost my touch. Just one battery slipping through his fingers, and he chose silence instead. If that keeps happening, what's lost isn't just hand function, it's dignity. But even just a few minutes a day, opening and closing your hands, turning your wrists, practicing with bottle caps, can remind the nervous system, I'm still here. Maybe you can't do everything you once could, but as long as you can change that battery, you still hold on to something powerful, the ability to stay connected and to keep listening. And if our hands help hold on to independence, our feet help carry us out into the world, to hold on to one more piece of everyday life, walking through the supermarket on our own, picking what we want, and knowing we're still sharp enough to make the right choices. I used to think the supermarket was the easiest place to be, but now just imagining the checkout line makes me anxious. Not because I'm with the kids or someone's pushing the cart, but because it's just me, with a list in my hand and a wallet in my pocket. For many in their 80s, that's no longer simple. Not because they don't want to, but because their body and mind start slipping out of sync with the rush of modern supermarkets. The lights are harsh, the price tags are tiny and askew. People rush by, the checkout beeps fly, and while you're still trying to remember which kind of milk you came for, the cashier is already calling next. The sound of the register chimed behind her, followed by the moment of payment, a few coins handed back, and the simple question, is this right? Suddenly became confusing for many. According to the Aging in America report, nearly 58% of people over 80 feel stressed when shopping alone, and almost 40 say they've gotten mixed up when receiving change or couldn't find the item they needed. Mrs. Ellen, 82, from Sacramento, once accidentally bought baby formula instead of low-fat milk for adults. The cartons looked almost the same. I wasn't wearing my glasses, and I didn't want to ask the young staff for help. I was afraid they'd laugh at me. When she got home, she put the milk away and stared at it for a few seconds, thinking, am I really starting to lose my ability to tell the difference? She didn't tell her kids because sometimes small things make older folks feel quietly sad, and not everything needs to be shared. Shopping solo isn't just about saving others time, it's about feeling capable, mentally sharp, and still in charge of life's little tasks. So if grocery shopping alone is starting to feel overwhelming, maybe it's time to simplify. A handwritten list, clearly organized by store aisles. Keep a pen and reading glasses handy in your bag, or shop during quieter hours, like Monday mornings or around noon on Wednesdays, when there's less rush and more calm. Some even jot down average prices of their regular items, turning it into a light mental game to stay sharp and confident. Because sometimes walking out of the store with exactly what you came for is a quiet little victory. One only those who've lost that confidence can truly appreciate. And there's something else too, something no one sees and doesn't even involve leaving the house. But every time I do it, I feel strong in my own way. Changing the bed sheets by myself, smoothing out the mattress without pain or dizziness. No one ever teaches you this, but after 80, changing sheets becomes a true physical challenge. Bending to tuck in the corners, then standing up straight, doing that without lower back pain or getting lightheaded isn't just routine anymore, it's an achievement. People think, what's so hard about changing sheets? But it's really about bending, twisting, pulling, tucking, and standing up without wobbling. If you can do all that with no pain, no dizziness, that's worth a round of applause. That's why so many older adults need to rest after changing sheets. Or worse, end up pulling a muscle, losing balance, or bumping into the nightstand. According to the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy, nearly 40% of adults over 80 struggle with daily tasks like bed care, especially when it involves bending and balancing. Mrs. Linda Waters, 82, who lives alone in Raleigh, shared at a community meeting, "I slipped once just trying to tuck in a corner. Since then, I've started stretching every morning and placed a small chair by the bed for support. Now I can change sheets without worrying, and honestly, I'm prouder of that than finishing my physical therapy routine." The truth is, maintaining that ability doesn't take a gym, just some light knee touches in the morning, a few shoulder rolls while waiting for the kettle, or standing up from the couch without using your hands just 3 times a day. These little habits help your body remember movements that used to come naturally. Because tucking in a crisp, clean sheet isn't just about tidiness. It's a quiet reminder that your body still belongs to you. At some point in life, strength isn't about how fast you run. It's about what you're still able to do, calmly, steadily, without anyone needing to remind you. Remembering appointments, driving a short distance, replacing batteries, picking out the exact item you need at the store. These simple things, when they're still possible, are how aging stays strong, quietly, confidently, and without fanfare. Because when someone in their 80s can still stretch a bedsheet tight, with steady hands and no dizziness, it's not just muscle at work. It's a quiet statement. I'm still in charge. I'm still living life on my own terms. And if one day those things get harder, that's okay too. What matters most isn't holding on forever. It's having the courage to take small steps that help you keep that sense of control for as long as you can. If this video made you pause for a second to look at yourself, not with worry, but with pride, go ahead and tap the like button to save it for later. Hit subscribe if you'd like more of these gentle, honest reflections. And drop a comment. Your story might be the boost someone else really needs today. Because sometimes the smallest thing you can still do is something really big for someone who's starting to struggle.